Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing the next of my builds for the elite vessels or the faction ships as they are called in game. Now the first thing to note on this entire build is the function of faction ships. Now faction ships can play the role of a guardian or a sniper. They are that well built and they have that much of power within them. Now they have the same amount of low slots as your sniper vessels, and they have enough health already on those ships standard for you to multiply them up to a solid armor build. The next thing about them that you should note is they also have a lot more power and bonuses and benefits for weapons than your regular ships. And that's what makes them so much better than most other vessels. And I am going to be going through them. Now, another mistake that I did make when I was speaking about the faction ships was uh, not the T8, the battleships. The elite battleships can be used by any level player. However, you have to be T8 to manufacture them. So if someone could get a hold of that blueprint and manufacture a battle cruiser, not battle cruiser, a battleship, they'd have to be T8 already. Now, everybody who is progressing towards T8 is only about as close as 700 hours to T8. So we have that 700 hours till we reach T8 for the first few players, and once they reach T8, then everybody else can start getting the same gear. Now, I am saying that it's around 700 hours because my figure isn't exactly 700. I remember someone was talking about how they had 789 hours or something to go till they reach T8. So that's how come I'm saying that's when the battleships will come out. Now, today's build is going to be on the Cynabal. Now, just like I'm saying right now, when you look at the stats, you're going to notice that it has resistance stats and it has weapon stats. And overall, let's look at it from the start. Plus 50% warp speed. Now, even though it has warp speed, there are two options on this vessel. One is to give it an afterburner and make it a speed tank, and the second is to give it a micro warp drive, and allow it to benefit from its special effect, its bonus. The next thing that it has is plus 5 seconds of damage control activation. So the damage control units, when you activate them on a ship, they give you a massive bonus. And that bonus will last for 10 seconds regularly. And if you've increased it with this here, you now have 15 seconds. 15 seconds of invulnerability is enough to pull up 3 repairs on your armor if you're using this vessel, or 3 repairs on your shield if you decided to swap around to do a shield build over a armor build. Now, a lot of players don't like playing armor builds for one reason. If you ever make a mistake and you end up at the bottom of your armor while getting jammed or something in that manner, you always end up with the possibility of losing the vessel. So that's why a lot of players do play armor boats with shield builds. It isn't the best way to build them. It doesn't give you the most out of its effectiveness, but it is a safer way to play because if you lose your shield, you always get away before your armor is totally destroyed. And that's what a lot of players do. I've noticed it in a lot of experienced players also saying the same thing. Now, for every level in your advanced medium cannon operation, you get 5% extra damage and 5% quicker activation. Now, overall, this is going to be 25% damage and 25% reduction in activation time. Okay, and the advanced cruiser command bonus is plus 7.5% tracking speed. Now, for every level, you're getting 7.5. That makes it 37.5% total when you have your full command. Now, what this means is you're getting 37.5% extra tracking. It allows you to trace objects as they cross your screen a lot better and a lot further. The next one on that list was the medium cannon accuracy fall off. So you're now going to have a bigger and bigger range by 37.5%. It isn't a massive percentage in terms of the other ships where they give you that 200% and 150, but this little bit of an accuracy buff for your vessel, for your weapon, is going to allow your vessel to get quite good range. Now, cannons are already some of the fastest firing and heaviest hitting weapons. If you have equipped them correctly with these formats, they're going to do more damage overall. Okay, Now I'm gonna read through the basic info here quickly. Overall defense is around 20,000. Speed is near 300 meters per second. Standard 3 astronomical unit warp speed. 949 megawatt power grid. Add 40% to it because 40% comes from the whole advanced engineering bonus. If you are building these without those bonuses added in, these ships aren't going to be as effective for you as they can be with the best builds. So considering that it's 950 plus 40% of its power, that's going to be an additional 300 and something. So I'll just say 350. So you got 1300 megawatt power grid. It's quite a nice big power grid, and it's going to help you overall. You're also getting a boost to your capacitor. It's obvious, a small boost. It's not as big as it should be, but nonetheless it's 40% as well total. And you're also getting a boost to your recharge time. It speeds up, so you're going to be able to recover more power. Now let's go into the basic info. Now, since this here operates with cannons, it's definitely an armor boat. Yeah, armor is its highest attribute, followed by shield, followed by structure. So making it an armor tank is an absolute possibility. As I said, the best thing about faction ships is you command how you make it. So if you go and you invest into it for a complete armor tank build, you're gonna have an ultimate armor tank. That's armor hardener, armor repair, and armor plate. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna extend your armor and allow you to take more damage for a few seconds. Okay, so the next thing is your capacitor. Now, your capacitor increases with your research in engineering, so don't stress about it too much. And once you have enough capacitance, you're going to have quite a quick recharge on this vessel. Now, targeting sensor, I'm not really going to go into this, it is quite good. Flight velocity 292 meters per second. Now, with your advanced command bonus, it isn't going to be 292, it's going to be increased by quite a bit. Plus, you can add in more to its speed. Now, as I said, the can run an afterburner or a micro warp drive. Micro warp drive takes advantage of the roll bonus. Afterburner takes advantage of the high speed on the vessel. And either way, you are going to get a lot of advantage out of the ship. Okay, so let's go through. Okay, so all this was discussed. Now let's go look at what we're going to put on in terms of weapons. Now, when it comes to cannons, you are going to go straight down. Let's close all of these. The auto cannons aren't really the best. They a lot lighter on power, but they also have a very small radius in which you can fire, so they're no good in the long-term battle strategies. You get too close, any speed that you have will be negated, so running an afterburner is pointless on this vessel at that point, and you're going to have to run something closer to a micro warp drive to get out. You're also going to be within disruptor range all the time, so you're going to get disrupted frequently, and that's also going to interrupt your gameplay. Okay, so that's the reason why I wouldn't go with the smaller cannons. Let's open the bigger cannons. It's a strike cannon, right? That's the name of it. So a Type C strike cannon. This is 139 megawatts. Sorry, per unit. And let's see what is its consumption. No gigajoule consumption, so you don't have to worry about that. Activation time is just over 12 seconds. I'm not sure on how much it boosts up when you've improved its overall DPS, but considering that it has this DPS with just 3 types of damage, means that it will do fine against almost all opponents. It's in a neutral state of damage 90% of the way, so you're not really going to take too much of a risk. Okay, so moving on, the next thing to discuss with this whole thing is it has 5 weapon slots. Okay, it has 1 drone, 5 weapons, 3 mid, 5 low, uh, 3 weapon rigs, 3 engineering rigs. So you need 5 of these to power it up. If you work it at 140, which is a lot easier, times 5, that will take you to 700. Minus 5 from it, it will give you 695, and that's the actual power consumption that it has. Remember, you have a 1300 megawatt grid, and it's right now that we have enough research that we can be at this level. So if you jump straight to battle cruisers right now, you're going to end up losing out on being able to run these ships. And where these ships win overall is they are absolutely vicious in terms of gameplay. You're going to be able to get them all the way up to T8 with expert skills, and at that point you're just going to wait till T9 to learn your battleship, and everything will go well for you as well. Now, advanced ships, the faction ships, you also get them from for frigates. So frigates are the only other option when it comes to elites. Okay, so there you go, 695 just on weapons. Now the reason I'm going top to the bottom is because of the heavy drain on the system due to the weapons. So 695 out of 1300 is going to leave you with uh, 605 megawatts left. So everything that goes into the ship for the next few slots is 605 megawatts. Now remember, some of these are interchangeable parts, so you can change them as you want to form up different builds. And I will explain which fittings work with which builds. Okay, so first of all, you're not going to go with the shield build. Shield build is not recommended on it. Remember, it's an armor boat, and you have about enough speed on it to make sure that it works very functional in tanking damage. So armor repair is the number one thing I'm going to put on this, since it is an armor boat. And let's look at the figure. 111 megawatts instantly. That 605 that was remaining is going to take a massive knock. You're going down to 504. You're going to 494 megawatts remaining on your system. So 494 is where we are for the remaining of the ship. 494 after this one addition. Damage control units is a very good idea on this here, since it has a bonus for it. This is also a bit of an expense. Oh no, this isn't a power grid expense. You minus one. That turns it to 493 megawatts to go. So let's see what else we can put onto this vessel. We have 2 slots down in the low. Now you could put weapon builds into this here. Just with these two, it's already got quite a bit of armor. The next thing that you're going to think about is a micro warp drive or afterburner. Micro warp drive is the more expensive of the two, if I'm correct in terms of consumption. Yeah, 167 megawatts. Another big chunk out of that total. If you're going to run with this here, that's going to leave you at 393 minus 7, 386 megawatts if you were going to use the micro warp drive, which is the best suited for this vessel. However, afterburner is just as good in this situation, considering it's 300 megawatts, and with the bonuses from all of the skills, it's going to cost you 83 megawatts. So you wouldn't have dropped below the 400 mark on this. You would have just had 410. As you can see, a massive difference in the two. It's something to think about. Now I'm going to go as if I was going with the afterburner, and then you'll see exactly where we end up with the minus 83 from it. So 410 megawatts remaining on the system. We have 3 low slots in. What are our next two going to be? Here are your options. Number one, you can improve the resistance of the armor by giving it armor hardener, and this here will give you more of a tanky build on the vessel. This is 1 megawatt in count, so it isn't that expensive, and it's going to leave you with a good amount of remaining megawatts. So as you go, you are now at 409 megawatts. You have a nice grid left on the ship. You can do whatever you want with your mid slot. If you went the other route with the micro warp drive, you had 200 and something megawatts at this point. No, wait, you had 320 megawatts or so, somewhere in that range. You still have enough to go through to the next part of the build. And here comes the kickers. When it comes to armor extender, which is the armor plate, this could be very expensive to put on the vessel. If you're going complete armor and shield build, you're going with afterburner for this. So let's see what's the biggest we can put on it. It's 176 megawatts. On either one of the builds, the moment you put this on, you no longer have a chance to apply anything major in your mid slot. uh, your mid slot. If I put on the armor extender, basically, it's going to reduce me from 300 to just under 100 and 130 remaining, if I'm correct. I'm not sure. I've lost count already. 130 or less than 83, at which point you can only deploy small little boosts on it. So if you're going with the armor bolt, you're not going to be able to play the close range fight at all. You're going to have to keep it back all the way throughout your fight. But if you are using the extender, you should be using the afterburner instead of the micro warp drive. It's a lot better for you. Sorry. Okay, so there was one of the options for this. The other option on the slot was actually to go down. Okay, wait. It says it's armor hardener, damage control, afterburner, and repair. So there was one slot left. The one option was this, and the other option is to go straight into your weapon upgrades and to improve your weapon range. Now, if I am correct, missile tracking unit improves the range um, for the jaw cannon as well. So let's just check it. No, ballistics is. Yeah, this is going to improve your ballistic control as well. 500% multiplier, nice big range, easy to use vessel, perfect for you to stack up on. So you can add this in to give you more range, and that's instantly going to give you a good feel in the battle. It's a good option, and it's as expensive as the armor plate, if I am correct. No, it's slightly cheaper. It's going to allow you to at least run one NOS on this vessel. Considering your range, NOS isn't really an option unless you went the other option using the quick cannons, in which case you are playing right up close with the afterburner and a micro warp drive, because you're going to need an option to get out quickly. You're also going to have to consider putting on other options in this slot. So this slot is your interchangeable slot in this build. You can swap it out with warp core stabilizer. You can swap it out with the tracking unit. You can swap it out with any other unit that you may think for this build. You could throw in a shield booster in the slot. It is quite expensive, but it will help you, and that's all depending on how you're playing this entire build. Now, in the mid slot, you're going to run a drone, a Vesper most likely, that's 1 megawatt. I'll just open and show it quickly. Now, I don't own one of these vessels. The problem with it is extremely hard to get a hold of a blueprint. And if you do want to purchase the ship, it's almost 1.5 to 1.8 billion to purchase one. And that's within Corps mainly. Outside of Corps, if you're trying to purchase it from someone else, you'd be lucky to pay 3 billion for this vessel. So that's what you can use in terms of a mid drone. In terms of electronic warfare, you can use double Weber fire. It's 1 megawatt each, and you can use a disruptor if you're going to use it for PvP, or you can use a NOS. Now, depending on which option you took, you have the option of the NOS. If you're running double Weber fire and a disruptor, that means you went PvP and you're most likely running the micro warp drive, or you're running a warp core stabilizer to stop yourself from being warp disrupted. Now, everything that you put on affects your lower rigs. I'm not going to go into the lower rigs because the lower rigs confuse me quite a bit and I make too many mistakes with them. So when it comes to putting on your lower rigs on this vessel, remember you have three options for the combat rigs. Now, one is going to be for your armor booster if you're going to go that route. If you're going more armor booster and reduction in cost. That means you can run for longer with this vessel without having your capacitor drained. The other option on this vessel, instead of the armor booster set with the armor reduction in cost, is to run a complete weapon system. Now, the one thing that is going to remain constant is your weapon damage plus 25%. Now, that is going to stay constant on the ship whether you're going armor or you're going for the weapon boosting, because the other effects within your armor are just going to help you boost up some of your resistances. If you're going for anything else like an extender, increase. It's doable. 25% extra is going to help you, but it isn't the best thing to put on the armor. Remember, if you're taking that much of damage and it is that bad, you're going to have to warp away. It's easier to warp away and repair your ship instead of running into combat. Now, moving on with this whole situation, if you wanted to go weapon build, you're going to increase your damage, you're going to increase your fall off range, and you're going to increase your activation timer. So, a reduction in activation timer means that you're going to fire faster and faster and faster with the ship as time passes on. And that means that whole situation is going to be benefiting you. Everything should be level 3 or above because you are getting this from a level 3 standpoint. Everything that you're purchasing for this vessel should be level 3 or above. Level 4 is perfect for it actually. If you can do a Dead Space 10 once you have this vessel with level 3 fittings, that's perfect for you. You'll be able to keep running through everything. It's going to be quite easy for you with these cruisers. Now, as I said, they're a bit of a mix of a guardian and a sniper. So maximum defense, maximum assault, and that's where these vessels sit. Now, in the low slot for the Cynabal, the options that you have are quite simple. You can increase its speed even more by giving it a navigation thruster rig. That's going to take you up by 15%, if I'm correct, in level 2. If you manage to get a level 3, it's an even bigger advantage on that ship. It's going to fly around way faster, give you a much bigger edge. Plus, when you add in an afterburner to it, it will go right over the top. So that is your first option to give you more resistance to damage, whether you're using micro warp drive or you're using the afterburner. The next thing you can do is you can increase the, what is the next thing? You're going to increase your energy regain. And you could increase your capacitor, but I don't see a reason to really increase your capacitor. You could increase your grid capacity. That I can see a major reason if you want to run a bigger build. Plus 25% on the ship is going to be massive just to add it on top. Another 200 megawatts at minimum gives you 1500. Any build is then possible on this vessel. You don't have to stress about what you're putting on it, and you don't have to be careful about balancing everything. Now, even though I did calculate it out to about 1300, my figures aren't exactly perfect. Running a Norse on the ship isn't the best of ideas, but you can run double Norse with the close range weapons. It just means that you have to be a little bit more conservative with your lower part of your ship. So if you're running the double Norse, you're going to run afterburner, shield, not shield, armor regen, uh, armor booster, damage control unit, and in your last slot, you're most likely going to run something like a shield booster or a warp core stabilizer or something to help you get out of trouble. Or you're going to run a battery. Batteries are very good, they always help you extend the time on your tanks because tanks do drain capacitor very, very fast, regardless of the level of your engineering. And this is where this vessel will shine. It is an all-round vessel as well. It is also very dangerous, but it is not the most dangerous from all of the elite ships at current. The most dangerous, if I'm correct, is the Phantasm. I've seen players complaining about being blasted out of a fleet 5-1, and the Phantasm is the one. It took out 5 of them before they could even take it out. That just tells you just how powerful these ships are. And they're not talking about small differences in battle, they're talking about running worms and uh, Gilas against it. So that's the type of battle that the Phantasm can go through. The Phantasm will go with the listing. I'm not going to push it forward just because it's a fan favorite and because it's such a big play in the game. I'm going in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the last is going to be the Vigilant, second last will be the Phantasm. Now, the problem with me and a Phantasm is I don't know what fittings work best with lasers. I don't know what works well with the cannon. It's just simple. I had a long talk about it. Someone was telling me if I want to fit up a stabber, and they told me exactly what they're using on their stabber to get more range, and that the tracking computer works with that. That's how come people were using stabbers. It wasn't lasers. The lasers were having a ridiculous output in range. I don't know how they were doing that either, but that's another story altogether. The stabbers were getting about 120 kilometers, and the lasers get about 150 to 200 kilometers. I don't know how it works exactly, but I'll find out hopefully in the next few weeks if someone can explain it to me. So that was the basics on it. So you can use the stacking of the tracking computers according to uh, the game devs. There's nothing wrong with it. So if you want to play the very long range battle, you can stack three damage control units, afterburner, and not three damage control, three tracking computers, a damage control, and an afterburner, and you can play the long range fight. That means you're gonna stay at the maximum different distance and just hit like a sniper. That's what you can do with this ship, and it will work fantastic. Because of its bonus in fall off, it's most definitely going to give you that distance. So that is another thing to consider when building these vessels. Now that's going to be the end of this discussion on the Cynabal. I hope you all enjoyed the video. As I have said before, there is a link in the description below to my Teespring store. I am aiming to reach 250 subscribers by the end of the month. Let's see if I can. And I am aiming for 1,000 subscribers by the end of a year from the launch of the game, obviously. So by the time we all reach T10, I'm hoping that the community is 1,000 strong for us. So I hope that we all can go there together. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.